Dan Shinder here on Drum Talk TV, live if you're watching it live, or archived if you're watching the archive. You got two different ways. And I'm here in Globe, Arizona, 100 miles east of Phoenix, up in the mountains. And I'm excited to introduce a debut guest on Drum Talk TV, the last interview of our 9th year. How cool is that? Welcome Chris Rogers from Las Vegas by way of Torrance and Inglewood, where I was born. And I lived in Vegas for years, as many of you may know, following the show. That's where we started Drum Talk TV. Chris, welcome. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Dan. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah, absolutely happy to have you. And what's cool about Chris's drumming acumen is that he's got I want to start with influences. He's got a very wide variety of influences. And I would love to hear from you folks what your influences are if you're a musician. But Chris's influence range, and I'm going to have to turn my speaker off on the laptop or you're going to hear a crazy, don't want to hear me twice. Once is more than enough most of the time. But, and I'll be monitoring your comments over here, folks. But Chris's influences range from Vinnie Colaiuta to Phil Rudd of AC/DC to Charlie Watts of the Rolling Stones to so many other players that I have to ask Chris, what was your first influence and who do you feel is your biggest influence? You got Chris Coleman in there. You got a lot of rockers, a lot of jazzers, Clyde Stubblefield from James Brown. It's all over the map. So kind of where did that start and how did you get such a nice recipe of ingredients there?
I would honestly say my first influencer is my cousin Tony Shoemate. He's a tour musician. He's from California. He was the one that got me in love with the drums. I would see him, the way he played was passionate, and then from listening to everything, Stubberfield, Dennis Chambers, from back in the day, AC/DC. I was just a fan of music in general. Didn't have one genre. I just loved all music. And
That's great.
I would take a little ingredients, little styles here from everywhere, and just combine it and try to make it my own sound. But that's what I love about music. And it's just different genres, different moods. I can work out and play death metal. And if I'm driving on the way to work and I'm traffic, listening to jazz and just taking away a lot of information.
That's awesome because it gives you more tools in your toolbox and you're in a perfect place for that. Being in Las Vegas, you do all kinds of gigs. You mentioned that you've got a jazz gig later today. I will see you in person. And folks, here it goes. I'm going to invite you all to join me and my amazing, beautiful wife, Enja. We'll be at Chris's gig December 8th, and we'll talk about that. I'm going to show a clip, and out of a little selfishness, I have to say that the way I met Chris is through my wife's son, who's my son. We don't use the word step in our family. We have a blended family of 11 kids, and I have to say, I'm going to blow his cover. Kevon is the oldest, but Kevon is an amazing entertainer, great singer, plays some hand percussion. He's doing a Maxwell tribute show. Talk about the show.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Me and Kevon, we've talked about it and toyed with the idea. It's like, okay, let's talk about venues. Let's talk about a show. We got some other shows down the road. And this Maxwell tribute show, we got some heavy hitters for musicians. That's going to be joining us. Rael, Steve, just to name a few. And this is going to be, we want to make this seem like Maxwell himself is throwing this concert. And, we got some special guests coming in. We just want to make people feel good and, just give them that energy, that excitement, that love, that 1996 style of R&B.
Yeah, the real R&B. It's such a great repertoire of music that you guys are pulling from. I haven't seen the set list. I don't need to see the set list. I want to be surprised, like everybody. But I want to show a quick clip of Chris with the band. One of their many things that they do together with Kevon singing. This gives you one idea of his really cool pocket playing, and then we're going to show some other clips as we talk about music as well. But check this out, folks, and come see us at the gig. The link is in the post. skip through a little bit here. There's a little taste. Chris, what I love about that is how I've seen other videos of you playing. We posted some today. You're so chill there, and it's perfect for the music. I've never played with a shield. What is that like? Is there a learning curve there, just like mentally, or in the way it sounds slapping back at you? For those of us who haven't done that, tell us about playing in a fishbowl, or at least with that shield.
Yes, playing with a drum shield in your face. I particularly love to play with in-ears because I'm more in tune with the singer. I'll have the singer in my ears. Helps me with dynamics, helps me with, attack when we're bringing it up. I can hear the energy, if that makes sense, the vocals. So to me, technically, the sound man and the drums and the drum shield, they're on their own world. I'm not aware of them. But of course, we want to play to the room, be mindful of the sound man. That's why we have sound checks and whatnot. But those sound shields really help protect, I believe, the bleeding from, bright cymbals bleeding into singers' mics. And sometimes that can be annoying.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love for you folks, anybody that's in the Las Vegas area, to come out and meet Angie and myself and see Chris play with Kavan. There's a link in this post to the information. So please, if you know someone in that area or you're not, check it out. And we've got some hellos on the comments, all the way from Russia, a faithful fan. If I could read Cyrillic writing, I would remember his name, but I can't. Good night to you as well. Thank you for joining us. And we've got Brian Cahoon, faithful fan and friend of Drum Talk TV. He's saying about the shield blow back in your face. Does that happen, Chris? Was that any kind of learning curve where while you're protecting others from your cymbals, is it washing back at you, or do you not notice it if you're using in-ears?
Don't notice it at all.
Cool.
Yep.
Cool. I'm a dumbass. I used in-ear monitors here in the studio for a short time, but I never wore hearing protection ever. And I've been playing almost 52 years. I need hearing aids really badly, and I'm going to get them soon. I'm way past that vanity issue, and my wife is tired of me saying what, and I'm tired of her sounding like she yells at me after I say what for the third time, just to be louder so I can hear. So boys and girls, wear hearing protection. So let's talk about some of the other music that you play. So we know what you're doing with Kavan. You've got the Maxwell thing going. I know you do other stuff with him. You got jazz gig later. Talk about the difference between some of the different bands that you play with around town in Vegas, and also how you got that gigs. How can you help other musicians, no matter where they are, whether it's Cheyenne, Wyoming, or New York City, or Atlanta, or in Vegas, get a bunch of different gigs that you can manage jumping from one thing concurrently,
Well, I would say, for the listeners out there, I would go with finding yourself. But when it comes to like the different genres, you have to have catalog or a keen sense of a learning technique where you can learn this music, but sometimes that can be strenuous. You got a whole show's probably, broken down into 60 songs, and man, if you got a strong learning curve. I just grew up with a lot of music from listening to everything. Yeah. And I got lucky. Played at a couple of juke joints. They have like an open band, open night.
Yeah.
And you just go up there and people call out the songs. Like, yeah, I know that song.
Jam with people.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. That's always so much fun. Yeah. I might look for something like that. I used to do one at Vamped, because we lived about a mile from Vamped. Yeah, I used to do that every time. It was on Tuesdays, I think, if I remember right, or Thursdays, or something that ends with day in it. But used to do that as often as I could, and it was a lot of fun.
Heck yeah, you'll definitely learn there too. Just going out to those open mics and they call out the songs.
Yeah.
But going from a pop group, playing for Karma out here, they're at a different stage and a different setting. It's just or for like a huge room, 1,500 people, 2,000, maybe, I don't know. Then you go to your lounges, to neo soul, and you got a different set of drums you want to play there, to play
Right.
to the room, and different cymbals, sound. So I try to match every gig to
Right.
the genre. So if I'm playing rock, I'm gonna have some heavy hitting cymbals, um, the big toms. If I'm playing pop, just it's probably in between rock and soul. So it kind of gives you that nice sound.
Yeah.
I'm a full acoustic drummer. I don't believe in and I'm not knocking anybody who does, but I don't believe in having the digital drummer.
Yeah.
No. I like to have my cymbals stacked accordingly. I have a small stack, a big stack for clapping sounds. For playing like old school 80s, boom, 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 boom. Oh my gosh, I'm bebopping. I said I wouldn't do that.
That's cool.
And I'll have chimes. I have blocks that sound like snaps. Just go full on acoustic, and it
That's
caters
cool.
to each gig. And then
So
that's
you
what I
don't
love.
necessarily use backline, you take your own gear?
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
In my day, I grew up playing up and down the Sunset Strip in Hollywood. That's where most of my gigs were.
Nice.
And there was no such thing as backline. Like, I only heard the word backline about maybe 10 years ago or something. I'm like, what is that? Oh, it's the kit that the venue has. Excuse me? What? No, I'm playing my shit. And I had a huge drum set. So those of you who watch Dan's Almost Daily Vlog, my big blue kit, that's not even the whole thing. It was that kit with 3 more drums, with the timpani drums and 5 Simmons drums mixed in. And I never didn't take the whole kit. I took everything. And it's just like a piano. You don't take just the keys that you have for that gig, right? If you play an 88-key piano, that's what you take, or your keyboard rig, or your different guitars for the different sounds. It's the same thing. So the whole backline thing is something I've never been able to get my head around. I have played on some on like these open mic nights like you're talking about and stuff like that.
Scary.
Yeah. So I want to show another clip. So you saw Chris chilling in the background, backing up our son, Kevon. But let's check out something with it gets a little more choppier. Check this out. Starts with a ostinato. Moves into a groove. Here we go. Awesome stuff. Some other little mentions here in the comments. Vicky Gretsch, thanks for tuning in, Vicky. She says that, jams help you be versatile. Absolutely. And that she's never really been able to be great at dynamics with earplugs. And that was my problem as a kid. They didn't have all this sophisticated type of ear protection now that sometimes just block out certain kind of frequencies. I have a pair of those now, and I should be wearing them more often, where I can hear my drums. But back in the day, it was like playing with your fingers in your ears, and you couldn't hear anything. I had a drum student a few years ago that played so hard, I thought he was going to break my stuff. And he was using like the headphone kind of stuff. And I said, let me see those. And I put them on. I said, okay, just play for a minute. And it was like being underwater. They were like firing range ear things. And I couldn't hear a thing. So, Vicky, I could totally relate. I don't know how anyone plays with good dynamics if they have something that's blocking out everything, and then we've also got, I don't know if Brian Cahoon is joking here or not, but he says country is the hardest. My thing with, I can recognize country guitar playing. I can recognize, country singing, country vocals, but I can't recognize country drumming, especially of today. Because today it's rock with a twang or pop with a twang, basically. Whereas back in the day, you had Johnny Cash. That was freaking country. You know what I mean? You had that and so many old school players in the day. So I don't know if he's joking, but have you ever played in a country band?
Oh yeah.
And do you do so? Is there a difference between country drumming and pop drumming these days?
Yeah. To answer your it's a technical answer, yes,
Okay.
it is different between pop. Country to me, growing up in the church, reminds me of old school gospel.
Oh, okay.
So
Interesting.
4/4 shuffle, rock grooves, all that kind of. He's an on time guy. Oh yes, he is. And then the golden country is like, if you
But that
ever.
makes sense.
To me, they just sound the same. There's a lot of things that are very similar.
That's interesting. I never never made that correlation. I'm just checking the comments again. Okay, cool. Awesome. What's your favorite, like, if you're not studying for a gig and you just get that itch where you just want to play, what's your go-to genre of music? Is there one thing that is your favorite thing to just shed to and just let it all hang out with?
Oh, I don't have. So, like, my breakdown of my, like, me time when I'm on the drums, I have a playlist that has my favorite song from this genre. You know, I may have Smashing Pumpkins, and right after that, Robert Glasper, and
Oh,
then right
wow.
after that, it's just, I don't, it's just, sometimes it's, to me, it depends on how I'm feeling. It's the chord progressions of the song. So I may play a genre that has some nice, songs that have some nice melodic, old ninths and, type of chord progressions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just groove to those. But if I were to just to say, Chris, when are you going to go to? No thinking about it, it would be fusion, jazz
Oh,
fusion.
nice. Very cool.
It's
Who's your
more,
favorite jazz fusion artist? Mine's probably Return to Forever or anything Billy Cobham has done.
hey, oh my gosh, I'm really bad with names. I would say I would go. I'll bring it back. I wouldn't say for that extreme jazz fusion, but I would go with, as I mentioned it before, Robert Glasper.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
yeah. Of course, you got your Snarky Puppies.
Yeah.
Then you go in. What's a Moonchild? I like them. They're not kind of fused. I don't know what they are. Are they neo soul?
Yeah, yeah. That's cool. What influence have you had that you feel you learned the most from? Not necessarily picked up the most in style, which could also be part of the answer, but is there a particular influence that you feel you really learned the most about drumming from, whether it was pocket playing, groove, fusion, fills, chops, dynamics, or whatever?
An influence, like a person, or
Yeah.
ooh, can we list experience as a person?
Say that again. Oh, that's a great answer.
Because I collect, I'm like a little soaking sponge. I've gotten many ideas. I've talked to artists who's been doing it for 40 years and tell me, hey, Chris, sometimes when you're coming out of a section, just make it pop, And then sometimes, I'll hear from another singer, like, hey, maybe not so busy on the hi-hat, just keep it in quarter notes, 16 notes, you don't have to be fancy all the time. So I grab all these different ideas. Some people say, hey, when you break down, never stop kicking, keep the quarter notes on the kick, keep going.
Cool.
I just influence everywhere. It's just people will just influence me, drop little nuggets here and there. I remember, I forgot his name, but he would tell me about stage etiquette. It's not so far as like, hey man, you got the stuff, kid. You're playing the drums, but what really counts is when you show up an hour early for the gig. Take your time with the sound man. Don't just do solos on your sound check. Start with your snare, do quarter notes, go to the tom. Let them direct you. And when you pick up, man, pick up all that stick dust. You call it stick dust. And pick up the water bottles. Make sure you pick up behind the band. Just, that type of influence.
That's great. That's very important stuff. It really is. We want to be good to work with, and all of that adds up. We want to be good to work with, not just from our fellow bandmates, but like you said, the sound guy, the venue, the next band coming on, the band that's on before us, those kind of things. And I think what's cool about drummers, I think inherently I've noticed over time, way back going to the late 70s and into the 80s when I was gigging a lot and touring and stuff, drummers seem to be, for the most part, the most supportive and most present to watch the other band before them or after them and kind of congregate with them and support and stuff like that. And I think the other thing that's cool about drummers compared to most other musicians, not to stereotype, but it is what it is that a lot of other musicians, they don't want to share technique or the gear they're using or, anything, but drummers will go, wow, what is that snare? Come here, man, let me show you. Or what's that technique? And, drummers are very open about that, which I think says a lot about who we are as a community,
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm definitely that friendly neighborhood drummer.
Yeah, exactly. And you've been playing since you were 2. How did that start? How did you start playing at 2?
Well, yeah, all these prodigies that are coming up nowadays. Before YouTube, back in the day, that was me at a young age playing. I had pocket in the house too, and had my little drum kit, and I progressed. I believe how they say it. As tall as I was, I played, I can remember standing up. I had to stand playing. I'm playing on a full kit for congregations, probably like, golly, get into numbers, but yeah, like 400 to 500 people. Wow. And I would play for the spiritual choir. And I grew up out here in Vegas, Pentecostal Temple. Hey, my grandmother was playing organ, and I was that little kid sitting there, waiting to play. And, yeah,
that's cool.
That's
cool. I know that a lot of young musicians get turned on to music by being present at house of worship musical situations, which is really cool. Want to check and see. Brian also says, and forget trying to add a drum track to bluegrass. And Vicky also says, I love sharing drum info with other drummers and band members. Yeah, see, I think it's awesome. Very universal with us, which is cool, So the gig is December 8th. What's the name of the venue again? I feel so bad. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Oh, yes. Kev Love's Music Hall.
Kev Love's Music Hall. So Kev Love is Kevon Tyree's nickname. All the sisters in the family and other relatives call him K-Love. So come out and check out Chris's drumming. Check out Kevon and a great band doing a tribute to some great music. Maxwell and my wife Enja and I will be there. And if you don't want to talk to me, you can at least come say hi to this beautiful lady, and she'll be happy to say hi. I don't know why I'm here. I'm not the arm candy. I'm not the brains. I don't know what she's doing, but I'll be there to support Kevon and
you're
Chris.
The drummer.
Yeah, there you go. That's the reason. The significant other magnet. Yeah.
You're a drummer. Yeah, boom.
Absolutely. That's enough. That says it all. Cool. Chris, thank you so much for joining me here.
Thanks for having me. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And folks, his Facebook page is tagged in the post. So go ahead and connect with him there, see what else he's up to. He does a lot of other gigging and genres of music, as we've talked about. And Chris, hang on the line after I say goodbye to the audience. Folks, goodbye, and I hope to see you in Vegas if you're in Vegas. If not, this was the last interview of our 9th year. So there's another claim to fame by Chris Rogers, and we're in the middle during the month of December counting down our top 60, came out to 63, don't ask, videos based on views and engagement, and we're posting a bunch of fun interviews from the past as well. And then we're going to launch January with a big bang, no pun intended. So, folks, thanks for following what we do here on Jump Talk TV, and we'll see you very soon. Thanks.